All right, everybody, if you haven't been paying attention to social media and the Mecum auction Kissimmee, you might have missed that the Challenger known as the Black Ghost is going to be consigned with Mecum for their Indy auction later this year. It's actually in May. And if you're not aware of what the Black Ghost is, well, let's give you a little bit of a background. So the car is a 1970 Dodge Challenger with a 426 Hemi and a 4-speed. And on top of that, it was ordered in black with a gator grain top. So it's a very rare, very unique car. It's also a survivor car and it's a one-owner car. It's still with the original family that it's been since day one. Now, this car has a bit of unique history with it as it was street raced back in the day. And it's got the nickname of the Black Ghost because it would come out, race, and disappear. And a lot of the reason why it disappeared was because the owner of the car happened to be a police officer. And so, of course, he couldn't be associated with street racing. And so the car then disappeared for decades, and it was really found out it was still in the garage of the original owner. And a few years ago, it surfaced back to life, and after the dad had unfortunately passed away, the son got the car and he started taking out to events. And it came to the Mecum show in Chicago in 2017. That's where I actually saw it for the first time. And so this is I'm very conflicted on this car, and it's going up for sale. What's also should be noted is the car is listed in the National Historical Registry for classic cars. I believe the Bullitt Mustang and the Cobra Daytona Coupe are also in that registry. So that gives it a very special provenance with it. But what's gonna be interesting is what it actually sells for. Now, a lot of people have already been blowing up the internet on their thoughts on whether or not it should be sold, whether it shouldn't be sold. A lot of people say that the person who has it, the son, shouldn't be selling it because his dad left it to him. It's basically a family heirloom at this point, and he's just looking to cash in on all the latest media hype surrounding the car. Of course, then on the other side of the coin, you got people saying it's his car, he can do what he wants with it, and he could probably better use that money for his family than just having this old Challenger sitting around. And so I'm very conflicted on that, as I mentioned. On the one hand, being a huge automotive enthusiast, there is no way I could see myself selling my dad's car. It means so much to him, and then it means so much to me. There's just no way I could let that go. So from that standpoint, I agree with folks that are saying they shouldn't sell a car because really, I mean, once it's gone, and you're probably not gonna be getting it back. Now, on the other hand though, the current owner, the son, put out a statement saying that it's time to let the car go. His dad never told him not to sell it. He said just not to give it away. And they could really use the money to help with their family and send the kids off to college and what have you. And so I totally get that, and I totally respect that decision. Now then, of course, where is the car gonna sell at? What dollar mark is it gonna hit? And there's a wide range of people out there, again, like everything else, on where they think the car's gonna sell. A number of people think it's gonna hit the 7-figure mark, including the Mecum house. I'd like to hope that that's true for the family's sake, but from a realistic standpoint, I don't see the car going for more than $500,000 or $600,000. And so let's go ahead and dive into why I think that. So I've seen the car in person. I've got other friends that are big collectors that have seen the car in person. And as far as survivors go, it's kind of rough. When I saw it in Mecum, I almost didn't even give it 2 looks because it was just a ratty, beat up 70 Challenger. And there were just, of course, it being Mecum, there are a lot of other amazing cars. So it's definitely, compared to the Survivor Orange 70 Hemi Challenger that's recently sold on Bring a Trailer for $500,000, the condition is greatly different between the two. So this car with these options in this condition, I would say normally would be $250,000 to $300,000 tops. But when you add in the current hype around that car and its story, Dodge has come out with a limited edition for their final run of a Black Ghost Edition Challenger to commemorate this car. The National Registry, the history of the street racing and its story, all of that definitely adds to the value. But unfortunately, with this car, A lot of the street racing stuff is just lore, it's just stories. There's no real hard evidence, nothing really well documented. And when you get a car like a Shelby Cobra that's got a certain CSX VIN number, you can trace its race pedigree. You know what races it went to, you know what drivers drove it, you know what races it won, all of that. It's very clear cut on what the history of that car is. And so having that fully documented provenance really adds to the value of the car. We don't have that with this Black Ghost Challenger. There are even a lot of people contesting whether or not the stories around it are even true, because there are a lot of people that were in that era, that were in that area at the time, that have no recollection of that car at all, that were heavily involved in the street racing scene. So there's a lot of hearsay back and forth on it, but of course, being the timing and all the hype around it, it's definitely the perfect time to sell the car. It's definitely gonna bring the most money right now. So that's definitely gonna add to it. So that's why I say that car is probably worth in the $500,000-600,000 range. Now, what's actually gonna happen in May, time will tell. We'll find out in a few months. And of course, I'll do a follow-up video then to with what actually transpires, and we'll see where the numbers shake out. So what are your guys' thoughts? Where do you think this car's value is gonna go? Do you think it was a good decision for the family to put the car up for auction? Do you think they should keep it? I'm very interested in your thoughts on this subject as well, because it is definitely a very interesting subject and a very unique car. So on that note, guys, I will see you in the next video.